welcome back to my channel, World of Sarah. Thank you so much for tuning back in. Just a reminder to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos on what life in med school is like. I hope you guys had a really awesome Thanksgiving that was full of friends, family, and lots of food. For today's video, I thought that I would show you guys a little bit about how to study for giant final exams. Right before Thanksgiving, I finished my last block, which was brain and behavior, which covered neurology and psychology. I thought the material was super interesting, but the amount of material was really overwhelming. Our syllabus, which is basically our textbook that's written by all of our professors for each lecture, was over 1,000 pages long for this block. I mean, look at this thing. As you can imagine, studying for this final was a challenge. And with Thanksgiving over, this is final season, and so I hope that this video will be helpful for you guys when you're studying for your tests. So my first piece of advice for you is to make sure that you're caught up. This is a marathon, not a sprint, and you need to be sure that you're playing for the long game. The last thing you want is to be in your review week but still trying to catch up on content. Not only will this take away from valuable review time, but it means that you're going to end up cramming more and that you're not going to know the most recent material as well, which is oftentimes more heavily tested. My second piece of advice is to make a game plan. Write it down and cross off each component as you finish it. It's really important to recognize which areas you need more work on and plan accordingly to review those in more depth, but to also make sure that you allot enough time to review everything at least once. And when you're making your plan, it's really important for you to be realistic. The last thing you want is to be overly ambitious, thinking that you can review 3 times and you only get through 1. I like to start out with the most recent material, learn those really well, and then start back from the beginning and review everything. And my third point is to review effectively. By this, I mean active learning. I find it really easy when I'm reviewing for a really large exam to just passively read through my old notes or some tutoring slides, but that means I end up glossing over a lot of important details. It's also really tempting to just assume that you know the concepts, but in reality, they just seem really familiar because you've learned them before. That's why I've come to really love flashcards. Quizlet, Anki, whatever works for you. They make you actively test yourself, and that's really important to make sure that you're solidifying these concepts. But I don't like to rely solely on flashcards because I think a lot of times you miss the big picture. Which brings me to my next point, which is make sure that you're getting the big picture of understanding. And don't get caught up in the nitty-gritty details. When I have so much that I need to learn, it's really important for me to prioritize the important concepts and make sure that I understand them really well. And then those concepts can serve as building blocks for you to add the details on as you go. But if you start out at the microscopic level, memorizing all of the details, you risk missing out on understanding the overall big picture and truly understanding what you're learning. Plus, understanding the concepts is what's going to pay off in the long run. And finally, be flexible. Don't be afraid to stray from your plan a little bit if there's an area that you know needs a little bit more work. At the end of the day, you're going to know what you know best. That doesn't really make sense. What are these words? The plan makes sure that you can adequately review in the amount of time that you have, but at the end of the day, learning is the most important thing, and so it's important to be able to adapt your plan to the current need. Don't assess your progress on how much of the plan you've completed or how well you stuck to it, but assess it in terms of how comfortable you are with the material. That's the most important thing at the end of the day, and only you're going to be able to know that. And finally, get a good night's sleep. I know that this is something that gets said all the time, but those last couple hours of studying at 2 a.m. are not going to make a difference, but those hours of sleep will make a difference on how well that you can reason through your exam. It's really easy to be stressed out about a test and think that you just need to study a little bit more, but what I tell myself before I go to bed right before a big exam is that I know what I know, and that's just going to have to be good enough. Like I said, it's the long run, not the short-term cramming, that is going to make a difference. So make sure you plan accordingly, study hard, and study well. And I'm sure y'all are going to ace those exams. I hope this was a helpful video for you guys. Again, if you liked this video and want to see more about life in med school, tips and tricks, some of the fun weekends. Be sure to like this video and subscribe. Thanks so much. See you guys.